Welcome back, budgeteers. Coach Nino Villa here, disciple of Christ, husband, father, and financial coach. And today on the New Money Habits podcast, I want to address a topic that is coming up over and over and over again. Hey there, budgeteers. The new year is here, and you know what that means. It's time for fresh starts and new habits. If one of your goals is to get better with your money, New Money Habits has exactly what you need to kick things off right: the Payday Power Planner. This isn't just any budget tool. The Payday Power Planner is designed to work with your pay periods, not just the calendar month. Why does that matter? Because it helps you to see exactly when your money is coming in and going out. No surprises, no guesswork. With the Payday Power Planner, you'll know if you're working with a surplus or facing a deficit, so you can make informed decisions about your money. It's not just a plan, it's the clarity and control you've been looking for to start the new year strong. Make this the year you finally build new habits for financial freedom. Grab your free Payday Power Planner from New Money Habits today and take the first step toward a better financial future. Visit newmoneyhabits.com now, because this year it's time for a better plan for your money. I've noticed a topic that is repeating itself a number of times over the last few weeks. And whether it's in the Facebook group and its posts, or whether I'm talking to potential clients or even current clients, there's this reoccurring theme that I've noticed that I just want to address at large. And that theme is, when is it right to repair a vehicle and when is it right to replace a vehicle? And I want to address this because what I've noticed in the posts and in the conversations is there's this misconception about what information is relevant to the discussion. So what information about a vehicle is relevant to whether or not you repair it or replace it? Well, let me give you one example of information that is not relevant to whether or not you repair or replace a vehicle. The age of the vehicle does not matter. It doesn't matter. Time and time again, I hear about, oh, well, it's 10 years old or it's 15 years old, and so it's time to replace it. Says who? Why does the age of a vehicle have any bearing on whether or not you repair or replace? Age alone, my argument here is age alone should not determine whether or not you decide you're going to repair it or replace it. There are plenty of people who have restored cars from the 1950s. Those cars are now over 70 years old. But if something happened and that needed, one of those vehicles needed a repair, those owners wouldn't go to, oh, I guess I'm going to replace it. Now, I understand that might be a little bit different because it's most likely a restoration project, but not every vehicle that is running on the road today from the 1950s is a restored classic. Sometimes they're just old vehicles that are still running. Now, that might be more true for, say, a car from like the 1970s or the 1980s, but I know that every old vehicle I see is not a restored classic. So it's not as though every one of those is a project for somebody. Sometimes it's just that that's the vehicle that they are still driving. So age alone seems insignificant to me. And I get that that's an opinion, but it seems insignificant to me to base your decision on whether to replace or repair a vehicle solely on its age. I think to understand what's really going on, if we peel back the curtain a little bit and we take a look at what's really going on when somebody talks about age, is we live in a society today, especially in the United States, We live in a throwaway society. We live in a society in which I no longer repair my shoes, I throw them away and I replace my shoes. I no longer repair my electronics, I throw my electronics away and replace them. And so now we're doing it with bigger, more costly items like vehicles. I no longer repair my vehicle, I throw it away and I get something different, something new. And so I think if we look at that mentality, if we look at that practice, I think we can identify very quickly that it does not serve us. It does not serve us to be so quick to throw something away and replace it. That it is more beneficial to us to look at, does it make more sense to repair rather than replace? Now, I'll be the first one to admit, if you know the story of our 2012 minivan that I bought in 2017, I got to a point where I repaired and I repaired and I repaired and I repaired, and I got to another repair and I had to make a decision. Do I keep going down this road of repair, or is it now time to replace? So I will be the first to admit that I lean towards repair, even to my own detriment, many might suggest. Right? Well, Nino, you repaired that van over and over and over again, and then eventually you had to replace it anyway. All I've said so far is I don't think year alone should determine whether or not you're replacing a vehicle. But it's often the thing that somebody will lead with. Well, it's 15 years old. Okay, awesome that it's lasted you 15 years. That's amazing. Make it last 20, 25, 30. So, in an effort to encourage you to be a savvy manager of your money, I would say when you're considering repair or replace, throw age out the window. What's the next thing that is closely tied to age that people will talk about? And that is reliability. Reliability and safety. They kind of, oftentimes we blend these two things together, or we talk about them very closely. Reliability and safety. Well, an older vehicle, by sure technological advancement, is not as safe as a newer vehicle. And so we get caught up in, well, it's old and therefore it's unsafe. And we might even throw unreliable in there, because if it's breaking down, if it's needing repairs, well, all of a sudden it's unreliable. That's simply not 100% accurate. But I get it. Okay, so a car built in the 50s, if it even had a seatbelt, it had like the lap belt, right? Fast forward, now we have seatbelts with the lap belt and the shoulder part of the belt. Fast forward, and now there are safety features like lane assist, and you turn on your turn signal and it'll beep and vibrate at you if somebody is in the lane that you're trying to merge into. So just by the sheer evolution of technology, by comparison, an older vehicle is not as safe as a newer vehicle. But does that mean that that other vehicle is unsafe? Is the floorboard falling out from underneath it? Are you back in the Stone Age and you're Fred Flintstone and you got your feet on the ground? Probably not. Now, if that's the case, your car is unsafe. But just because a car doesn't have the same number of safety features doesn't mean it's unsafe. You have to really ask yourself, define what unsafe vehicle actually means. Is there an electronic short, and so the car just kind of shuts off in the middle of you driving it? That's unsafe. Do the brakes fail, and so you're going to careen into the car in front of you? That's unsafe. Does the seatbelt no longer latch properly, And so it comes unbuckled. That's unsafe. But depending on what those are, some of those are easy to repair, easy to replace. And what I mean by replace, I don't mean replace the entire vehicle. My car's safety belt doesn't want to latch properly every single time. I have to make sure it's latched properly. And when it is latched, it's fine. But if I'm not consciously aware that it's latching properly, it won't always latch properly. I can easily replace the latching mechanism. I say the word replace because I'm replacing a single part, but it would be repair the car so that it's then drivable on, and that it's safe again. So a $50 part versus buying a whole nother vehicle for thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. And so when it comes to a car being unsafe or unreliable, I really want to challenge the way we defend and the way we define a car being unsafe or unreliable. I think the truth is we get it in our heads, we want something, and now it's a number of things to justify the thing that we want. So I'm justifying my want to replace this vehicle because it's old, because I think it's unsafe, because I feel like it's unreliable. Whether those things are actually true or have any weight or bearing, if the emotion and the desire to replace is great, then we're going to allow the emotions to drive our decision and allow us to justify that decision. And I guess where this is all coming from is this idea that the more we can become consciously aware of what it is that we think and how we feel about what we think, the more we can make informed decisions. When we don't examine our thoughts and our feelings about purchases, we are then driven to make decisions that we otherwise wouldn't make. So I'd much rather challenge thinking and feeling so that we can make informed decisions, clearly informed decisions. Hey there, budgeteers. You know, good news can only be good news if there's bad news. So, what's the bad news? The bad news is you and I have a deadly disease called sin, and this disease causes us to rebel and disobey God. See, God is holy, righteous, and just, and He cannot be in the presence of sin. So this horrible disease of ours separates us from the God who created us. And the bad news gets worse. There isn't anything you or I can do to make ourselves right with God. We are dead in our sins and on our way to an eternity separated from God. But that's not God's will for us. See, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. God did what only God could do. He made a way for us to be reconciled to Him through Jesus Christ. Jesus came into the world to save sinners like you and me. While we were still sinners, storing up God's anger against us for our rebellion and disobedience, Christ died for us. Jesus took the punishment that you and I deserve and have earned. Jesus is the substitute for your punishment and mine. Now, isn't that some good news? The word gospel means good news. The gospel of Jesus Christ is that you and I broke God's law and Jesus paid the fine. When we place our faith and trust in Jesus, we get to experience God's grace and mercy. Our gratitude should turn us from our rebellious and disobedient sin toward God, seeking after Him and His righteousness. When we do, God gives us a new heart and a new mind. Praise God for His goodness, and remember, God loves, humans sin, Jesus saves. One of the other common themes that arise when talking about whether to repair or replace a vehicle that I see that I think doesn't have as much weight as we often give it is the value of the car versus how much the repair is going to be. Why this is a thing, I don't understand. Who cares? And I know that sounds harsh, but I really want to challenge our thinking on this. Who cares if the amount of the repair is going to cost more than somebody else's perceived value of the vehicle? I'll give you an example. I drive a 2008 Dodge Caliber. It has approximately 195,000 miles on it. So, based on age and mileage, what is the value of that car nowadays? That's a bit of a rhetorical question, and I haven't looked it up, but I'm guessing the private sale value is under $5,000. Might be like $2,500. It might be $3,000. I don't know. Maybe I should pause this recording, go look it up, and bring it back to you guys. Okay, so I actually went off and found the value of my car because if I'm going to give you an example, I want to give you a real example. So my 2008 Dodge Caliber with 195,000 miles on it, its trade-in value is in the range of $166 to $413. Let's just call it $400. So my trade-in value, if I were going to take this to a dealership, they would give me $400 for it. On the private party side of things, if I was just selling it to a private party, there's a range, but the average in that range is about $2,200. So let's even just round that down to $2,000. So for $2,000, I could sell my car. That's its value. The question becomes, does its value or should its value affect whether or not I'm going to repair it? Because the argument that I hear so often is, well, if it's going to cost more to repair the car than the car is worth, then don't do it. Why? Why does the fact that my car's value is $2,000, according to somebody else, by the way, why does that play into the decision of whether or not to repair it? A few years ago, I had to replace the transmission. The transmission was $3,000. I don't know what the car's value was a few years ago, but let's say I never replaced the transmission. I'm at 195,000 miles and I had to replace it now. Well, that transmission is going to be $3,000, but the car's only worth $2,000. Why does any of this matter? $3,000 going into a car that I know is otherwise mechanically sound is going to get me another, 150,000 miles? What car, if I replaced, what car am I picking up for $3,000 that I know anything about? How do I know that I'm not running into a series of repairs on that car? And even if I took the $3,000 that it would cost and used that as a down payment on something that costs $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 so that I'm getting into something that hopefully isn't going to have any mechanical issues, or even if I took that $3,000 and put it down on a brand new car that's $40,000, well, now I'm into a car payment and I'm in debt. $15,000, $20,000, $40,000. versus paying the $3,000 and having no car debt. I I guess my whole point for this particular podcast is, why are these the factors that matter when deciding whether or not to repair or replace? I guess my point is, who cares how old the car is? Who cares what the car's value is? Let's redefine what we mean by safe and dependable. Maybe it's not as safe, but does that mean it's unsafe? Maybe it's not as dependable, but does that really mean it's unreliable? And so by challenging these thoughts, these perceptions, these preconceived notions that value matters or age matters or perceived safety and reliability, I, I just think we are heavily influenced by a throwaway economy where we are too quick to throw away an otherwise perfectly good anything, electronic, piece of furniture, automobile. We're too quick to throw those things away and replace them when repairing them would cost us far less and would extend the life of the item. And who knows, maybe I'm uh, overly sensitive to. I just watched the Netflix documentary By Now, and maybe I don't know, but I saw this theme even before watching that, where again Facebook posts, clients, prospective clients are talking about replacing vehicles as if repair wasn't even an option. But then when they talk about the reasons why they wouldn't repair, they're talking about things like the age of the vehicle, the value of the vehicle in comparison to the repair, and the perceived notions of safety and reliability. And I just want you to win with money. I want you to be uh, a good steward of your finances. I want you to be financially savvy. I want you to be thinking about things differently than the culture tells you to think about them. The culture would tell you throw it away and replace it. And I'm just asking the question, is that what is best for you financially? Is that the best decision for you financially? And I would argue that no. Hey there, budgeteers. It's a brand new year, and that means it's time for new habits, starting with your money. Take charge of your finances in 2025 with New Money Habits Financial Coaching. This isn't your typical financial advice. New Money Habits is all about giving you the knowledge, tools, and support to make confident money moves and build a rock solid financial foundation. Here's the deal: we're offering a free discovery session to kick off your journey to financial freedom. That's right, no strings attached. In this session, one of our expert coaches will help you to identify your financial goals and create a better plan for your money. We'll help you master your money mindset, sharpen your money management skills, and keep you accountable every step of the way. Make 2025 the year you say goodbye to financial stress and hello to the freedom you've been dreaming about. Schedule your free discovery session today and start creating the new money habits you need to achieve financial freedom. One of the first couples I ever coached reached out to me a few months back. It's been a while. And this was part of the discussion even then. Part of their discussion, we were talking about many different things, but one part of the discussion was he drove a car that was old and needed to be repaired. And I just kept coming back to, if you did these repairs and those repairs lasted you even 2 years and another, 30,000 miles, if the average person puts about 15,000 miles a year on their car, I know that number used to be like 12. I don't know what it is today. I'm just going based off of my own driving habits. But if $5,000 worth of repairs got you another 2 years and another 30,000 miles, would it not have been worth it? What's 5,000 divided by 24 months? It's $208. So the other way I think about this oftentimes is, okay, well, $208. Where are you getting a car for $208 a month and having it paid off in 2 years? Because that's kind of the equivalent, right? Like you might say, well, if I can afford the $208 a month for a 5-year loan, well, now you're talking about $12,000. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm more frustrated with this topic than I mean to be. It's just this idea that think differently about whether to repair or replace a vehicle. It's oftentimes going to be more cost effective for you to simply repair. That was not the case with the minivan. I wanted it to be the case with the minivan. It wasn't. Eventually we got to a place where we put an end to the repairs and we decided to replace. But as far as the Caliber, it's a 2008. We bought it in 2010. I've had that car for 15 years. My daughter, in whom the car was originally purchased for, not so that she could have it, but when we found out we were pregnant with our daughter, we took in the pickup truck that was an extended cab, and it was not really an extended cab. So it had 2 seats, and then it had like 2 little half seats that faced each other in the quote extended cab. We knew that wasn't going to be family friendly, so we traded it in. We got the Caliber. I've had the Caliber since finding out my wife was pregnant with our daughter. As of this recording, I'm recording this one day after my daughter's 15th birthday. The intent is that Caliber will become her first car. And I just had to put a couple of repairs into it the other day. Cost me $1,500. I'm not thrilled about that, but it's the first time in a couple of years. And again, if $1,500, gets me another 24 months, what did that end up being per month? Ended up being $62.50 per month. Where else am I going to drive a vehicle for $62.50 a month? I'm not. So if you've made it this far, you are special because you're watching me like unravel as I talk about this. I knew I wanted to talk about the topic. I didn't really have exactly a formulated plan on how I was going to do that. So thank you for following along with my stream of consciousness about this topic. Again, I just go back to the fact that I've seen it talked about a lot recently. I feel like the conversation focuses on the wrong things. It focuses on the age of the vehicle, the value of the vehicle, the perceived safety of the vehicle, the perceived reliability of the vehicle, and that these things aren't really what somebody should be thinking about when it comes time to replace. I think so. Then your question might be, okay, Nino, so then when can I replace? Like, what should I be thinking about? And I think it comes down to if we can redefine safety and reliability. So reliability is, can this vehicle get me from point A to point B, and can it do it safely? I'm not going to just break down on the side of the road, that sort of thing. With the van, the next series of repairs was the van was overheating and it wouldn't accelerate properly. And so now that's an actual issue, right? Like that's an actual safety issue. If I'm trying to accelerate up the on-ramp to the I-10 and I can't, or I get to the top and I were to stall out or whatever. And in the van, while I drove it plenty, I mean, it's my wife's car. She's driving our kids around in that. I couldn't drive the van as is anymore. So I had to decide, am I going to repair it? And because it was the fifth in a series of repairs, and my mechanic was like, I think I know what's going on, but with this particular brand, I've had issues, so we can repair this next thing, and I can't promise that you're out of the woods. I had to come to a decision. And so I think it's that it's when like I could stall out at any moment, that I could be on the side of the road at any moment, and that those scenarios, the probability increases. When we're talking about like a 50%, 80% probability of the car failing and being on the side of the road or not accelerating when we needed to accelerate, when we're talking about like the probability of that happening is very high. Now you're talking about true reliability issues. But the Caliber being 17 years old, and having a few issues doesn't mean it's an unreliable vehicle. It's very reliable. It's just an older vehicle that needs a little TLC. Okay, I think I've gone on enough of a rant today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with me this long. I appreciate your commitment to the conversation. If you are at this part of the podcast, be sure to come and check us out on Patreon. We're doing a lot of great things over there. As you know by now, we have dozens of coaches, or a dozen coaches, contributing to content on Patreon. Check out the Golden Nuggets collection. That is a bunch of rapid fire, quick hitting financial literacy points that are really going to up your game and help you to just see things differently. If you're not ready to join us as a paid member on Patreon, we offer a lot of free content. In the month of April, we're doing the 30-day financial literacy challenge. Come check that out. Even if you're listening to this after April, all of those videos are still available for free in the monthly challenges collection. So come check us out on Patreon. Take a look at the 4 different tiers that we're offering there and see which membership is going to be right for you. Yeah, so I can't wait to see you guys over there. And until next time, take care and God bless. That does it for this episode of the New Money Habits Podcast. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure to hit us up on social at New Money Habits and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review to help us spread this message of hope to people looking for a better plan for their money.